They thought throwing stones in your path would stop your journey. What they didn't realize was that fate collects those very stones and turns them into your staircase. That's the brutal irony of universal design. Every trap they set becomes the weight that drags them under. This isn't superstition. This is cosmic balance in action. Life doesn't miss. The energy you release comes back like a mirror with memory, and right now, your enemies are being haunted by their own reflection. Welcome, chosen ones. You were never just surviving. You were always syncing with something far more precise, a universal rhythm that favors the aligned and exposes the manipulative. Some people dedicate themselves to watching you fall, not realizing the fall they witness is their own. Every insult they threw, every attempt to sabotage your name, was quietly turned into a contract they unknowingly signed, with consequences they can't outrun. They see your glow, and it terrifies them. Why? Because you were never supposed to succeed. According to them, you were supposed to fold, to disappear. But you didn't. You evolved. And now they're stuck in loops they designed for you, while you're breaking dimensions they didn't know existed. This is why your very presence disturbs the peace of the wicked. Because your rise is a reminder that no amount of rituals, gossip, or envy can override energy alignment. If you feel this truth hitting deep, like this video and subscribe right now. Comment below if you know what it feels like to be the glitch in their system. You're not just winning, you're rewriting the rules. Before we go deeper into this message, I need you to understand something. This video isn't entertainment, it's activation. What you're about to hear will explain every strange attack, every silent betrayal, every moment you felt targeted for no reason. And once it clicks, you won't just walk different, you'll move like someone untouchable. If you've ever felt energy shift when you enter a room, if people have tried to curse you, bind you, or lie on your name, this message is for you. So pause for just a second. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop 999 in the comments to let the universe know you're done hiding your power. The ones who tried to take you down are already dealing with the fallout. Now it's your time to rise. Let's get into it. Number 1. Don't just pray for protection. Real power comes from being pre-coded for victory. Let's get one thing clear. This is no accident. You weren't just built different. You were deployed into this dimension carrying encryption most can't decode. And the ones who tried to touch you, they learned the hard way. You can't curse what doesn't operate on their network. They thought a mismatched candle, an offbeat chant from a stolen Tumblr post, and a pocket full of envy could intercept your path. They had no idea they were playing with outdated tools, trying to disrupt a system light years beyond their reach. You, chosen one, were never in the line of fire, because the moment they sent for you, the coordinates bounced. You're off-grid by nature, not hidden, unreachable. While they were bent over burning herbs and whispering spells in circles they barely understood, your frequency was slicing through dimensions. What they mistook for stillness was movement they couldn't track. They poured intention into rituals, only to wake up disoriented, sick, heavy, haunted by their own echo. That wasn't your energy hitting them back. That was their own venom recoiling, multiplied. Here's what they'll never admit. They didn't even believe in the power they were using, until it collapsed on them. Until their own lives started glitching in real time. Phones breaking, relationships cracking, jobs vanishing. Not because you attacked, but because your field reflects. And when something unclean tries to enter a sealed system, it doesn't just get denied access, it self-destructs. Your soul is sealed in sovereign technology. Think of it like this. While they're running Windows 98 malware, you're operating on a quantum firewall coded in light. The vibration of your presence doesn't just repel attacks, it exposes who's been sending them. And that exposure, it's unraveling everything they built in secret. Every attempt to track your energy, spy on your movement, or sabotage your name has only made them sick with confusion, because they don't understand how you're still rising, still glowing, still creating, still untouched. But you do, because you know what lives in your DNA. You didn't survive by luck. You moved through darkness like someone who knew exactly what they carried. And they hate that. They hate how you never retaliated. Yet their lives still fell apart. They mistook your silence for vulnerability, when in reality it was compression, your energy condensing before the next explosion. They mistook your peace for weakness, not knowing you were sitting above their warfare like a drone above a battlefield, watching, learning, locking in the coordinates. So here we are, chosen one. They set the traps, they cast the spells, and now they're caught in the same web they spun for you. Call it karma, call it the law of return, but you know better. You were never the target, you were the trigger. And they pulled it with their own hands. Number 2. Stop lowering your vibration. You were never meant to operate on their toxic frequency. Chosen one, let's call it what it is. You were never built to run on low-grade energy. Every time you dim your light just to keep the peace, you start glitching. That's why their energy feels like static in your system. That's why conversations with them leave you drained. It's not miscommunication, it's incompatibility. You are no longer wired to exist in chaos disguised as connection. They keep launching attacks, throwing shade, gossiping behind your back, and yet none of it lands. Why? Because you've outgrown their frequency band. You're no longer available on the same channel where hate, envy, and projection are broadcast. And the wild part? They know it. That's what haunts them. They scream into the void, and the void doesn't even echo back anymore. Their curses didn't miss because you're lucky. They missed because you're unreachable. You were elevated while they stayed rehearsing darkness in the basement. You are light-coded, operating above storms that once swallowed you whole. That's why they keep watching. That's why they keep testing. But their spells hit empty space. Stay up, literally. Don't shrink your tone. Don't meet them halfway. Every time you do, you short-circuit your own power. Let them keep trying to bait you back into a reality you've already transcended. Your rise exposed what their rituals could never override. You're not just immune, you're untouchable by design. Number 3. Never absorb their energy. Let them drown in the loop they created for you. Chosen one, your power doesn't come from how loud you are. It comes from how unavailable your spirit is to toxic input. You don't absorb, you reflect. That's the difference between you and them. They rely on chaos, attention, emotional reaction, energy loops built to feed off your light. But when your aura doesn't take the bait, when you stay still while they throw tantrums in the spirit, something terrifying happens to them. Their own energy turns inward and begins to consume the host. See, most people don't know that intention is a contract. And when someone pours hate into your direction, trying to bind your steps, trap your thoughts, or curse your name, they're not just casting a spell, they're stepping into a spiritual algorithm, one designed to return whatever's sent. And if you never give it a place to land, it has nowhere to go but home. Let them spiral. Let them drown in the very patterns they designed to destroy you. Because while they're repeating the same ritual, same gossip, same emotional warfare, you've already evolved out of the dimension where that nonsense even works. Your silence, that's the firewall. Your stillness, that's spiritual jiu-jitsu. You don't block the energy. You let it collapse from its own instability. And that's what's happening right now. They're being eaten alive by the backlash they summoned. Number 4. Don't play their game. Be the system glitch that shuts their whole ritual down. Chosen one, stop trying to outplay rules that were never designed to include you. Their entire system was built to drain energy, trap light, and control outcomes through illusion. But you weren't sent here to play in their maze, you were encoded to break it. While they were planning your downfall like a chess game, you became the glitch in their board. They moved pieces with confidence, thinking they had you cornered. What they didn't realize, you were never a piece. You were the error code that crashes the whole operating system. They counted on your reaction, your rage, your fear, your retaliation, but you gave them silence, and that silence disrupted the entire ritual. You didn't show up to their chaos the way they expected, and because of that, their strategies fell apart mid-execution. Like trying to run a virus on a protected network, every dark intention bounced back with error messages they couldn't decipher. Chosen One, your presence scrambles their structure. You're not just unpredictable, you're unreadable, and that terrifies them. They thought they were waging war with a person. They didn't realize they triggered a system upgrade that erases every dark input at contact. So stop explaining yourself. Stop engaging their low-frequency moves. You're not here to win their game. You're here to end it. Number 5. Don't let darkness latch on. Your light signature was built to burn through it. Chosen One, your light isn't decoration. It's a weapon. And the ones who came for you didn't realize that until it was too late. They didn't just underestimate your power, they misread your very structure. You weren't sent here to fit in. You were coded to disrupt. That glow they keep trying to dim? It's not just spiritual, it's algorithmic. You carry a light signature that doesn't just repel darkness, it melts it on contact. That's why nothing sticks to you. Not curses, not gossip, not manipulation. Because your energy doesn't absorb chaos, it incinerates it. People have tried to infect your spirit with bitterness, confusion, and fear. But the virus can't survive in your system. You're running a frequency that burns through interference. They don't know what to do with someone who can't be infected, baited, or broken. This is why some of them spiral after targeting you. Their spells didn't fail because they were weak. They failed because your system rejected the input. Their darkness bounced back not out of vengeance, but because your very presence acts as a firewall. You don't have to defend yourself when your frequency does the work. So stay elevated, stay encoded. Your light doesn't just protect you, it exposes what was hiding in others. And when it does, that truth burns brighter than any spell ever cast. Number 6. Don't mistake stillness for weakness. Use your silence to collapse their strategy. Chosen One, silence was never your retreat. It was your elevation. They thought you froze. They assumed you fell back because their tactics worked. But what they didn't realize is that you weren't reacting because you were never in the arena they were throwing punches in. You were operating from an altitude that doesn't flinch at noise. Your silence wasn't surrender, it was signal disruption. They launched attacks expecting chaos, but all they got in return was stillness, and that terrified them. Why? Because their strategy relied on response. They needed your pain. They needed your breakdown. They needed drama, but you gave them none. You gave them still waters that drowned their entire plan. That's the power of being untouchable, when your silence becomes the sharpest blade in the room, when your stillness becomes the glitch in their war game. Because stillness isn't the absence of action. It's the presence of power under control. It's the storm sitting quietly behind unshakable eyes. You didn't match their energy, you mastered yours, and that's why their rituals fell flat. That's why the curses reversed. That's why the traps they set became cages for themselves. You never needed to fight back. You were already positioned above the battlefield, watching their system implode from the inside out. Your silence wasn't weakness. It was a shutdown code. You didn't freeze. Number 7. Stop calling on backup. You are the spiritual force they should have never provoked. Chosen one, let's make this crystal clear. You've been looking outside for power you already carry. You don't need an army. You are the event. You're not moving with protection. You are the protection. The moment they called your name with malice, they signed an energetic release form, triggering a storm their rituals couldn't survive. They expected a response from some spirit guide or invisible ally. What they didn't expect was you. Your presence alone scrambled the code. Your silence made the room shiver. Not because something came to save you, but because the force they feared was already in your body. You are the one they should have never targeted. You're not a vessel carrying light. You're the source disguised as softness. And that's exactly why they underestimated you. They saw your gentleness and assumed it meant you were fragile. But when they whispered curses under their breath, their own lives began unraveling like cursed blueprints catching fire. You don't need to ask for vengeance. You are the correction. You don't wait for justice. You embody it. You don't raise your voice. Your energy speaks louder than any ritual they've ever cast. They didn't summon a victim. They awakened a force sealed across lifetimes. And now they're being met with consequences no spell can reverse. They should have never spoken your name. And now they can't silence the backlash. Number 8. Don't stay grounded. Your soul was designed to operate across realms, not in cages. They tried to bind you in a single timeline, in a single room, in a version of yourself that no longer exists. But chosen one, your soul was never meant to stay grounded. You were built to drift between dimensions like a current of pure awareness, fluid, formless, untouchable. That's why their rituals failed. That's why their curses dissolved. They aimed for a body that wasn't even there anymore. Your energy moves like a cloud, scattered across planes, witnessing across timelines. While they lit candles and mumbled words hoping to tether you, your spirit had already rerouted through a layer of reality they can't even pronounce. You were in motion, above their grid, beyond their tools. They needed you still to strike you, but stillness is not your design. You are expansion coded in motion. You are access with no location. Have you noticed how their spells never land? How their attacks always feel delayed, misfired, offbeat? It's not just because you're protected, it's because you're mobile. You're a moving axis, a shifting presence, a stream of light in transit. They tried to catch smoke with hands soaked in envy, and the only thing they managed to touch was their own reflection. Chosen one, you are not a prisoner of the physical. You are a traveler through layers of light. Their tools were built for cages, but you were born as the escape. Number 9. Don't let just anyone speak on you. Unauthorized use of your name triggers judgment. There's a reason your name leaves a bitter taste in their mouth. It's not just a word. It's a frequency, encrypted, ancestral, and cosmically tagged. When someone tries to speak on you without alignment, without respect, without clearance, they're not just gossiping, they're tampering with a sealed force. See, chosen one, you're not part of the usual script. Your name isn't just connected to who you are, it's connected to what you're here to disrupt. It carries legacy, encoded memory, and vibrational identity across timelines. So when they speak your name in rituals, in jealousy, in passive-aggressive conversations, they think they're calling you in, but they're actually summoning consequences, because your name doesn't float, it reports. And the moment it's misused, a cosmic alert goes off. Not to you, to the system that protects you. The backlash isn't delayed, it's precise. That's why you've seen people spiral after mentioning your name with ill intent. It wasn't drama. It was backlash. They thought your name was just syllables. They had no idea it was a spiritual alarm wired to respond to disrespect with disruption. That's why now their circle is folding, their rituals are glitching, their health is failing. They didn't just say your name, they tried to weaponize it, and the universe hit reject. Let this be the last time they forget. Your name is a locked gate, and only the aligned get access without fallout. Number 10. Stop fighting fire with fire. You were born in ether, an element they can't touch. Stop lowering yourself into their dimension. You were never meant to fight on their battlefield. They move with earthbound energy, fire, blood, smoke, and chaos, trying to ignite fear in someone who doesn't even exist in their element. That's why nothing worked. Not the chanting, not the binding, not the gossip. You weren't built from the same elements they pull from. You were born of something higher. You were born in ether, and ether is the one force they can't manipulate. They burned candles, you bent light. They stirred water, you became the current. They summoned fire, you disappeared into vapor. You were never in the circle. You were the space outside it, untouchable, undefinable. They can throw every element they want, but ether doesn't burn, it doesn't drown, it doesn't break. It erases every attempt without resistance. They thought they could box you in with rituals, not realizing your presence was the air around the box, the force between every atom. The reason their spells collapsed was simple. They were trying to access a dimension they weren't cleared to enter. You don't fight fire with fire. You dissolve the battlefield entirely. While they were locked in ceremony, you were already flowing through timelines, expanding. And every time they tried to pull you down into their frequency, they slipped further into confusion. Because ether can't be caught, and you were never here to be touched. Number 11. Don't argue with low-level energy. You're governed by sovereign law, not their spells. They want you to argue because that's the only way they gain access. See, low-level energy requires interaction. It feeds off your reaction like it's oxygen. But here's the truth they never understood. You're not even in their jurisdiction. You're governed by something they can't decode, much less override. That's why every spell collapses before it even makes it to your door. You were never part of their spiritual structure. Their rituals are like forged signatures, fake claims sent to the wrong court. And when the universe scans for authorization, rejected, void, invalid by design, you don't retaliate because you don't have to. You exist under sovereign law, where chaos can't breathe and envy can't land. The rules that govern them don't apply to you, and that's exactly what's driving them insane. They chant, they cast, they curse, but nothing sticks, because you're not walking under the same ceiling they're trapped beneath. You're above the courtroom, not in it. And while they fumble with candles and incantations, trying to manipulate outcomes, your energy is already sealed by a force beyond interference. Every time they try to drag you into drama, spell work, or psychic warfare, remember this. Elevation is the silence that cancels noise. Sovereignty isn't loud, it's untouchable, and that's what you are. Let them throw shadows. Let them whisper lies. You don't argue with ants from a mountaintop. You're not just protected, you're governed by laws they can't break through. Number 12. Don't curse the attack. Their hatred is secretly the GPS guiding you to your breakthrough. Every act of hate they threw your way wasn't just a weapon. It was a flare in the sky, marking the next step in your evolution. The gossip, the betrayal, the attacks masked as concern. That was the universe highlighting what needed to be cut, purged, outgrown. See, chosen one, you don't rise in spite of them. You rise because of them. Their resistance revealed your root. They thought their envy would break you, that turning people against you would isolate you, distract you, destabilize your mission. But instead, it cleared your path. Their intentions lit up every hidden exit in the maze. Every sabotage became a signpost. Every betrayal, a map key. They didn't delay your breakthrough. They triggered it. While they were cursing your name, the algorithm of your soul was recalculating. rerouting, realigning. Their spell wasn't the danger, it was the detour. They became part of your GPS system without even knowing it. You ever wonder how you got so strong? How your intuition became so sharp? It's because every attack leveled you up. You were being trained while they were being tracked. So don't hate the betrayal, don't curse the storm. Their hate was your data, their evil became your elevation. You just kept moving, and now they're stuck wondering how you turned the backlash into blueprint. You didn't just survive it, you decoded it. And if that truth shook something in you, it's because deep down, you've always known you weren't just surviving, you were decoding destiny in real time. The very hands that tried to hold you back ended up drawing the map to your rise. Their spells didn't stick, their traps didn't work. You were never the victim. You were the force they couldn't calculate. If you feel this alignment, hit that like button, subscribe for more powerful truth, and drop 999 in the comments to declare, I turn every attack into acceleration. Your breakthrough isn't coming. You are the breakthrough.